Hey guys, it's Adam here, and are you ready for the next project? It is going to be another kendama, and here's the design I came up with. This is based on the trailer that came out, and there's almost no information. You know, the one where his back's towards the camera, it's snowy, it's dark, and he pulls out his lightsaber and turns it on. Well, you can see just a bit of information, but his hand's really covering up a lot, and I could just tell a few things. Like I could see that there was a scoop here, and I could see a glint of metal there, but really there was no information. This morning I turned on the TV, and before I cut any wood or anything, ready to start, and the news broadcast says how these toys now just hit the store shelves and all these toys were released. So I just got back, I went out and I was able to grab one of these, and boy, is this going to change everything. There is so much detail on this that you can't tell from that trailer. So we're going to base it off of this, and man, this should be really cool. Now there's a lot more detail on here, so this is going to be a more elaborate project than I planned on, but that's okay. You can see that the dimensions are pretty close. I just guessed the width there, and that's not far off, really. Also the height, so you know, you can see some similarities, but it's nice to be able to make it more accurate. So that's what we're going to do. In case you don't know what a kendama is, here's a kendama, and you might see kids playing with these. You see a lot of younger kids with them, and but older people use them too. These have been around for, I think, centuries actually. And what it is, you hold this part and you try to balance the ball on different parts. You flick it up, and you can do, there's the big cup, you try to land on this, you can try to spike it, there's another cup on this side. So you'll see kids just flicking this ball around, and it looks really cool. So that's what we're going to do. It's going to be another themed kendama because we've already done a few others. And while I was at the store, I was able to grab this guy, Kylo Ren, and this is a 12-inch figure, and I figured this would be good for a giveaway. So it's going to be a US giveaway only, just because this is kind of heavy, and I can't really afford overseas shipping. So if you have a US shipping address, you can enter to win this, and at the end I'll tell you how to do that at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, this is probably going to be a really long video. Sorry guys if you don't like long videos, but I can tell that there's going to be a lot of detail in this. Also, the ball, we're going to make it a Jedi training remote. If you remember Luke in the early Star Wars, that little ball that went around and shot the lasers back at him, you know, when he was wearing the helmet with the mask? Well, that's what this is going to be, one of those. So it kind of fits with this. Yeah, it's a different, you know, era, you know, but it kind of works. This works with that, so I figured that would work. So anyway, let's get started. This should be a lot of fun. Okay, so here's what we're going to use to build it. I have some strips of basswood. These are 1/16 of an inch thick, and I just got them from the hobby store, and they're cut into different widths. And then I bought a poplar dowel. This is just under 2 inches, but it says 2 inches on the tag. And I'm going to cut this down. This is going to be the main body right here, and then all these little parts are going to be the side pieces. And I think this should work out pretty good. So let me just chop this up. And I can hook this up to the lathe and show you. I don't know that we spent any time really going over how a lathe works. A lot of you had questions about it. So let me hook all this up, and then we'll go over the lathe really quick. This lathe I got at Home Depot maybe $19.99, something like that. And I honestly can't remember how much I paid for it. This is Rigid brand. So to change the speed, you need to move this belt on these different wheels. It's just like bike gears. Works the same way. And I don't change it too much. You can see it spins like that. The motor drives this one, and it causes this to spin. You center your workpiece on this pin, and then these teeth bite into the wood, and that holds it so it doesn't fall off or you know, become loose. On this side, now the nicer ones have a bearing, which I should probably still get, so this spins a little more freely. Instead, this one is fixed until it kind of burns the wood a bit, but it works just fine. This whole thing slides to match up to the size of your work. And this tool rest, there's a couple sizes, and that's in case you need to get closer. You can spin them. You need to keep your chisel really close. The tool rest and the chisel really close to each other. If your chisel's way out here and your wood's out there, it's going to be able to flick. So you have all this leverage on the handle side, and it keeps your tool from getting pushed around. It keeps you in control. Other than that, I don't know that it needs too much explanation. Oh, right before I started working on this, you know, I should have checked. When I came out with the printed plans, I could not find any pictures of this at all besides what was on the trailer. And since then, people have been uploading. I guess there's probably some Star Wars museum somewhere. And so there's a lot more information on how to make this one. And so it should be interesting. I don't know how much, again, how much detail we'll get into. Let me mount the work here. So let's get the camera hooked back up and we'll mount this and get turning. Okay, before you mount it to the lathe, put a little X at the end. That'll show you where the center is, and then it will be a lot easier to get it to the right shape. Won't be wobbly. Okay, if I spin this wheel now, it's going to push this pin in and tighten it up. I've never started with a piece of wood that's already round, so this will be a lot easier. Usually it's square and you have to spend half the time getting to this stage. That's as far as I'm going to take this part right now. Let's go back to the lathe and finish up the other pieces. I think I'm getting greedy with this. This one's 5/8. Alright, I think that's good enough. That was risky. Alright, so I'll just do it to the next one. We're going to skip ahead. It came out alright. I got a spade bit. This is 7/8, and I'm just going to go slow, and hopefully this works out. I did some sanding on these pieces, and they fit in here just like this. So far so good. I think this is looking alright. Now I cut a screw off, and that's going to be what attaches these two together so that they don't come out. Well, that actually worked perfectly. Cool. Alright, so we're moving right along. I think we'll take a break. It's getting late tonight, but this is a good amount of progress for today. Then tomorrow we can work on all the ornamentation and things like that. This will be fun. See you tomorrow. And we're back. This is going to be the spike for the kendama, and this is the same dowel that I used on the chain chomp. It's 3/4 of an inch wide, but I need to taper it, and this is too fat, I think, to fit into my drill. Normally when you want to taper a dowel, you can just put it in your drill, spin it, and hold some sandpaper or something to it. You never know how thin to go before it's going to break on you. So we're going to drill a hole in stages, small, medium, large. So I got the hole in there, and once I was finished, I could tell that the wood is thin enough because you got a hole going this way and this way. This wood is so thin that if I get a ball that's this big, this is bigger than a regular kendama ball. This one's 2.5 times as heavy. If I have this banging around and hitting these things, it's gonna break here. I just know it over time. So it's better to not make this interchangeable. And I think I'm gonna use these maybe later for something else. But I'm just gonna permanently attach these, and this is just gonna be strictly a kendama. And I think that's the right choice. So I got some epoxy for this part and just some regular wood glue. And we're gonna glue this up. Now we get to start adding the details. And I have an idea about this part. I'll share that at the end of the video. All right, there we go. I'm a little happier with this first one, or the second one. It's the first one I drew was a little low. All right, this is, well, people call these Dremel. Dremel's brand name, but it's the same kind of function. I've used this before. Don't really like using it. Don't use it too much. But how this works, you have a little speed control in the back, and here's on off, and then this is supposed to be a little ergonomic, so you can use it. But man, this is a lot to move around like a pencil, and you can get all kinds of bits for these. This one's just like a little, spiral cutting blade. Let's gouge this in. Now this looks like it's at least 1/4 of an inch drop. You can see that there, it goes down a bit. Now I can use this tip as its own depth gauge. I'm going to go there and route that out. Next up, add some detail. I'm just going to use a razor blade for that. Let me sketch it out first. And we'll see how well we can do with just a razor blade. This is a tight spot. And I have a smaller bit here, but that doesn't fit. This shaft is too thin. I don't even know where I got that from. So I'll just do all of this by hand. Just gouge it out. After a lot of little scraping and cutting, that's where we are now. It looks a bit crude, but that's okay. I don't mind. I think this design is supposed to be like that anyway. Then I have a dowel that I cut the end off of, and I've just been sanding it, just putting it on my finger like that, sanding it really thin. A little dab of glue, and we can glue this on. There's about 4 little pins that go in right here, and if I drill that, it's going to split. So I'm going to use these. These are micro drill bits I got years ago, never used them. But they fit well in here, and that'll allow me to make a perfect size hole. Well, that walked a little bit. I couldn't keep that steady, but this is good enough. These little nails are part of a model ship kit that I got a long time ago. All right, next I'm going to put on, you can see these ribs, they're all black going down here. There's a lot of this kind of stuff, and I'm just going to do that simply by taking this is, what is this? 1/16 inch thick and 1/4 inch wide. And wood this thin, you don't have to spend much time cutting. Just take your razor blade, there's my mark, and push down real hard. That's it. I need 12 of these going all the way around. I got them all here, and you can see they're uneven. I'm just going to do a little sanding. All of them at once. So how do I glue all of these on evenly all the way around? I came up with an idea to do that. What I first did was wrapped a piece of paper around like this, marked it where it overlapped, and measured that marking, and in my case it was 12.8 centimeters. So then I went to the computer, and in Adobe Illustrator I made a box 12.8 centimeters wide, and then I made these. The height didn't matter, but I made another box 1/4 inch wide, and that's the width of all of these. Okay. And then you can select them all, and then there's an option in Illustrator to evenly distribute all of these. So it did that, and so it gave me the exact distance in between all of these. Does that make sense? I know I owe you guys a Illustrator tutorial. I think I am saving that for another shield video. We'll do some more shields. And those are good to do in Illustrator. They're kind of easy. They're not too technical, so I can give you a pretty good tutorial without getting mired in stuff that's, things you might not use at all. Okay, so there is one that's going to go right down the middle. And I'm just going to eyeball it. That looks close enough. Okay, so I'll center this. I need to get a really sharp pencil. I'll just sharpen it. Okay, that's good. All right, so this should work. Let's see. If I wrap this around, I should really get tape. Let me grab some. All right, now that I have the paper on, excuse me. Yeah, that looks good. That looks straight. It's just a matter of transferring these marks all the way around. Then I know where to glue them. And line it up at the top. If I hold it down for about, I don't know, 30 seconds to a minute, it should be pretty well stuck. Yeah, I'm going to put a rubber band on here, on this end and on the other end. That way I'm not going to accidentally bump these and shift these. Well, at least not as easy. Now let's double check, make sure. Oh, this one is way out of line. Yeah, double check your work. That was probably the last one I put on. The rest are good. Now this sticks out way too much, so I'm going to sand these down once the glue is dry. We'll let that sit for a while and then we'll get back to work. So a lot of the same stuff, just gluing on little tiny strips of wood here and there. So we'll skip ahead on a lot of this. I won't show all these little bits, but you just build it up, snap off little bits, glue it on, sand it down, shape some of them. Okay, these at, what is this, a 16th inch are too thick. I got to sand these down. So I'm just going to run some sandpaper around here and we'll kind of breeze through the rest of the construction. Like I said, we're just adding ornamental stuff to it, and it's going to be, you know, just little bits of wood here and there. It's really kind of a simple thing, and then we'll do the wires and things like that. We'll cut to that. So I'll just get going, sanding and adding wood. I don't know if this part will work, but I'm going to give it a try. On all this down here, it's going to be metallic, so I'm going to put some foil tape in here and cut it to width. It's kind of working, actually. I didn't have much faith in this before, but it's kind of cool. Because I'm going to spray paint this, I do not want to deal with trying to get the spray paint off this tape. So this is just a hobby mask. You can paint it on anything. But I'll give this do about 3 coats. That way it's thick enough to peel off easy, but being that this is metal, I think it's not going to be hard to peel off at all. I'm going to put on just a little bit of model paint in here because I figure this will need a few coats, and I'm just going to get it started. Now we need to put a few screws in here, and I got these little machine screws, probably from a hard drive or some computer piece. There we go. And I'll probably ruin the Phillips part of that because you don't want to see Phillips screw head there. I'll just drill it a bit so it doesn't have an obvious attachment like a Phillips. You know, you can do this a few times before your fingers are gonna hurt, so I'm just using up what strength I have in my fingers. It's gotta be just a little countersunk. There we go. So that the wood is higher than the screw. Barely, not much. Perfect. I just soaked a piece of wood here, and let's see how it bends. I microwaved it and wrapped it in a towel. Oh, that's great. So it needs to go right there. But I'm going to give it a bit more of a curve, wrap it around here. Oh, I just split it. That's okay, I got extra. I made it a little bigger than I needed. I should have let it soak in water longer and microwaved it longer. I mean, I did 30 seconds in the microwave and maybe 2 minutes in a cup of water, 3 minutes. If I did it longer than that, it'd be even better. Oh, look at that. It kind of cracked right at the cut. That's some good luck. Split this off. I'm going to use a zip strip. And if that doesn't work, you can always use a pipe clamp. This would be guaranteed to work. I'm curious to see. Let's turn the tie around the back. Try and slip this over. Come on, there we go. Stay still. All right. It's kind of working. I can keep everything lined up. Got to hear a couple more clicks out of this. 1, 2. Look at that, and the glue is beading even. So that worked. Razor blades, X-Acto knives are so vital to projects like this. Right now, we're going to put in buttony thing there. And again, I just don't want to use anything, you know, like a Phillips or a flathead. Something that you would easily recognize. This is close enough to what it really looks like. There we go. Perfect. And the neat thing about this is that it is kind of a beat up lightsaber, so any mistakes and dents and nicks doesn't really matter because the original's kind of like that anyway. So it's kind of late now. I guess we'll do some painting tomorrow so I can do it outside. All right, let's see if that mask worked. I'm not expecting much. Now this is kind of in an awkward spot. I'm not sure how to get it out. The foil cleaned up just fine, you can see here, but I don't like how bright it is. I mean, it's crazy bright. And this really needs to be toned down, so I'm going to paint over that anyway. But I wanted to try it, see what it'd be like. It's okay, but it's just catches your eye way too much, so I'm gonna have to paint that. This one I'm gonna repaint This will take some work again. It's kind of just this dusty gray, dusty chrome. That's good enough for now. I'll go over it again. Right now, I'm going to just add just a touch of highlight to some parts. Smear on a little bit of paint, mostly with my finger, and so the high parts will get the paint and then the lower parts not so much. See that? So there's almost no paint on the brush at all. Now I'm going to mix a bit of black with silver just to tone down the silver. It's a bit bright, and we'll just brush up on some edges, give it some highlights. Yeah, that looks much better. That's pretty cool. It's kind of glittery, a little graphite looking. Okay, here we are so far. I put on a clear coat, and I don't really like how shiny it made this. I might dull it up a bit again, but I've been pushing paint around. I need a good gray. It seems like I'm balancing between the black and that silver, but it's okay, good enough for now. What we're going to do now, though, is put the jumper wire on, and this is just some Romex wire that you'd find in your house when you're doing a three-way switch, something like that. And I went to Home Depot to get this, and it's 25 cents a foot. And the guy asked, he said, "Did you really come here for 25 cents worth of wire?" Because I only asked for 1 foot, and he just gave me this for free. So it is coated with this clear casing that has writing on it. So I'm cutting all that off. But I wanted one with solid copper inside so that it would keep its shape. Okay, so now all this coating's off, and I can just sand this a bit. And that way when I spray paint it red, it'll adhere better. Alright, I spray painted it now. I need to hold this in something. Now I'm going to tone it down with a little bit of flat black, just so it's not so aggressively red. So I have just a drop of black and then paint thinner. Next we're going to put in these blue wires, and they look like they're damaged. I just have a little drill bit. Let's see, where's the first hole? I did that first hole. Let's do the second one. I don't even know if any of that was on camera. As long as this hole's big enough, it should just barely fit. There we go. Perfect. I'll snip the top. Let's cut that right there. Okay, that just goes like that. Oh, that worked really well. Now the next one. I want to drill a bit deeper than I need so that it can go way in and not come out that easy. Because I don't, oh, I hit the camera. I don't want to have globs of glue all over. And then it looks like it comes right about there. Okay, now this wire, this seems to have a split in it. Alright, so I just split that a little bit. We'll shove it in the bottom hole. That's good, and I'll take off some of the top. Looks like it's going to be too long. This one's a lot harder to shove in. There we go. Oh, there's one more wire. Let me pull this one out because that's going to get in the way. It's right next to this blue one. Now I'm going to put in the holes for the jumper wire. This is the wire. This is the kind of wire you want. See how it's one solid piece in there? If it's braided, where did I put the braided one? If it's braided like this, or strands of wire, you see this is just a bunch of strands. If it's like that, it's going to be all wobbly when you mount it. But if it's solid, it's going to keep its shape on here, which is what you want. And it's going to keep its shape when I bend it. I'll need to do some playing around with it a little. It's going to go up into this little channel here. Then bend up, comes back around. And let's see, I'll cut it about there. And I'll have to bend it right there. Now we need to pin it down. I went and grabbed some finishing nails. If you don't know what a finishing nail is, it's just a thin kind of wire nail with a almost non-existent head. And I'm going to bend these to make these 4 clips that hold the wire in place. First thing we're going to do is cut off the head, and I'm doing that at an angle so it inserts into the hole a little bit better. See, it's kind of a spike. Now these are really handy. These are like needle nose pliers, but they're round. So I'm going to hold it a little off center. And then bend it around. Okay, I have a 1/16 of an inch drill bit. Perfect. All right, the wire's done. That came out pretty good. I'm happy enough with it. I think I might want to tone down the metal. It's a bit shiny. To do that, you can use heat. It'll change the color of the metal. And I might replace the wire later, but that's really easy to do. If you don't like how this looks, just pop it out and put in new stuff. But that's good enough for now. Let's move on to the ball. Now for the bottom, I'm going to line up this hole right here in the plate. I'm going to look underneath. Okay, so the hole's right in the middle, and then I can adjust this. Now this is just a pilot hole. Just to help guide the next drill bit. There we go. Interesting. About halfway through, it was super easy. All right, now we're getting kind of technical. This should be easy, but I have to figure all this out right now. What I did in Illustrator is I looked at the Jedi training remote, because that's what this ball is going to be, and I mapped out all of the bits on it. Now, I'm not going to cut these out of wood and put them on here, because this is going to be banging around and hitting things, so all these bits will fall off. It's not supposed to be, you know, a total model of this. I don't want to have the wood bumps on here that are going to get knocked all over the place. So what we are going to do is print out some decals and put the decals on here. And I have no idea if this is going to work. I've never done anything like this before. Especially working on spheres is really complicated. This took me forever to figure out all these little bits and how they're spaced, because I'm just looking at a ball. So, you know, the spatial difference here is totally different than here, because you're in a tighter spot than you are, you know, at the I don't know, equator, whatever you want to call it. So let's get going. Let's see how we can do this. So the holes are drilled, and what I'm going to do now is I got to have a nice line around here so that I know where to drill holes. What we're going to do, part of what makes this really cool, is each one of these inside here has this kind of bright metallic, you know, chrome looking. Where did I put the plug? I don't know where I put it, but we're going to drill holes and insert a metallic hole in there, and it'll look really cool. It should. And then the decal goes around it. But to find out where I need to drill, I need to map this ball. So here's what I thought would work for that. What I'm going to do, so I got the ball down and it's, you know, centered on the hole we did there. I'm going to take this card, and because this is at a right angle, if I put it up against there, I can see, I'm going to mark behind the card just because it's easier for me right now. I can see where the middle of the ball is. It's right here. So I put a little mark where the card touched the edge. Now, just for convenience, I'm going to slip this pencil in here so it holds it nice and tight. And you can see that I'm too high. If I spun this around and did a line, it's nowhere near the mark. So you can use paper or something. I'm going to use these cardboard squares. And look at that. That's right where it needs to be. So I just spin this around. And there we go. Actually, that might work for the distance. If that's the middle here, maybe I add some more cardboard and I can find out. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Let's find out the distance. so I know exactly where to drill. Hopefully this works. I could see that I can botch it a lot on my first attempt. Let's stab a little hole there. So now I need to come down. So let's put the cardboard under the pencil. It's still a little low. Let me go grab some more cardboard. Right on. Now I'm just making this all up as I go. Man, that seems kind of high. We'll find out. So if I drilled a hole right here, the other 1, 2, 3, they need to be spaced out perfectly. So I can just, I hate eyeballing it on stuff like this. This is harder to measure the circumference because I can't wrap paper around there. I don't want this to take too long, so I'm just eyeballing it. I think I'll just eyeball it. Would that be the worst? Complicated. Yeah, let's just do that. It's time to drill the holes now. I have a 15/16 of an inch drill bit in here. If you do, that's just 1 hair below a 1/2 inch. If you do 1/2 inch, it's going to be too big. For these are what we're going to insert. These are valve caps for tires, for car tires, and I got these at Walmart. They're really cheap. So this is all lined up and ready to go. Take one out, and you have to pull out this inside. There we go. And you can see it's all nice and shiny on the inside. Yeah, these are walking a lot. Meaning the blade is wanting, the drill bit is wanting to move, and it's moving around. So this is not the right bit. I need a bit with a centering pin. For a first attempt, I'm still really happy with how this turned out. They're not totally accurate, and this is close enough. Alright, now this next part I'm just going to do by hand. On this kendama, you can see there's a little lip. It kind of gives you some more room to line it up before it goes in the hole. I'm just going to hold the blade, spin it around a bunch. And if this takes forever, I'll use a Dremel. Alright, that's good enough. Ready for some paint. I have this. It's kind of this. It's called Navajo white, but any kind of almond, creamy white color will work. So this is going to take several coats. I can see that it's just sucking up the paint. Right now I'm printing out the decals. I'm using these Testors decal transfers. It's a little bit smaller than a regular sheet. Okay, so this is the inkjet printout that we did. I just did it on photo paper settings, and then you coat it with clear coat. Just very, very light, just to lock in the ink. Because if you don't, and I tested it, how easy would this ink run? I licked my finger, just rubbed it just a bit on the corner of the Triforce. You can see that black smear. So again, just a very light dusting of the clear coat, and it should be good. Because these decals, if you've never done decals before, you put them in water and the paper comes off the back, and then you can put them on whatever you want. I'm going to change the layout to make it a little more helpful for you for your project. Also, I might have a couple different sizes based on the circumference of the balls. And let's see, what else? So yeah, I'll have some extra parts, and these parts were just for test pieces. I've done a few. I cut them out and put it on. Let me show you how that works. I have a little side hobby going on, fixing up old arcade games. It's kind of fun. But I wanted to do some 1 and 2 players. You know how 1 and 2 players have these little guys there on the buttons? So these buttons didn't have anything. So I thought, okay, that'll be a good way to test out these decals. So I have Akuma from Street Fighter, and that's what, Cyclops and Wolverine. And Akuma is a hidden character on this game. You know, if you do the codes, I don't remember what it is. It's really complicated. Up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, select, start, that kind of thing. Then you get this guy, and you can play him with the fight against the X-Men. Anyway, the decal went on pretty well, but because this is a concave button, it was a little difficult to get the flat piece to not want to buckle and ripple. So you got to cut your decal out really close, and I'll show you how that's going to work. But what I'm worried about is this is a pretty wide area to need to wrap around here, so I'm expecting this is going to be a little bit of a problem. We'll see how it goes. So let me mount the camera and let's get going to this. Now let's start out with something simple. This goes on the top where the string's going to go through. There's 2 kinds of film that you can buy. One's white backed and then the other's transparent. On this transparent stuff, you don't really need to get all of the white off all the way to your artwork because it's clear. So just put it in the water. It'll curl a bit. Let it sit for a little bit, and then the transparency will come off. Let's see if that's long enough. Yep, it's slipping off. I like to get it wet again. I'll just place it right over this string hole. And you do have some time that you can shift it. It's not like a sticker where it's going to stick on and stay. Now these parts are exactly how they need to be on the ball. So if I put one here, it would wrap around and be, you know, all these would be exactly where they need to be. So if I can leave them connected, that's going to be really helpful. But it might be so awkward, I don't know. We're going to try. So let me cut all this out. was pretty difficult. If this was flat, it'd be no trouble at all. We'll see. I have to cut these up. You just can't do it without cutting it. So let's try the next one. I'm just going to add a clear coat of satin to this, actually several layers of clear coat. Okay, now it's time to finish this off. What we're going to do is insert these caps, make it sparkle a bit, and there's a trick if you're interested. You get a bag of sequins. Now this came from Walmart. There's various sizes in here. One of these fits perfectly inside there, and you want it, you see the difference there? Let me get this one. This one reflects so much more light. It looks really cool. Mirror. So I'm gonna just put a little bit of hot glue in there, put the sequin in the bottom. Now if you put, the sequins have a certain direction. See, it's kind of cupped like a plate. If you put it in this way, so it's popping out towards you, that's not gonna reflect as much light. So put it in this way. So it's like a dish, straight down. Okay, and then we're just gonna insert those in here, and that should make this look really cool. Now that looks really cool. That looks pretty authentic. It took me a little while to learn about how to best put these on. Get a needle or a nail, something like this, shove it on there. And you don't want to put the hot glue right on the sequin. I'm just going to put it at the end of this spike because it will change, it will alter the other side of the sequin and it won't be as reflective. Okay, so there we go, blob of glue. Now I can put this down inside and use another tool like this to lift it off. Yeah, that's definitely the way to do it. Don't get frustrated, you'll get used to how to work. You need two of these tools. And then when you take out this one, you can spin it to break the glue. And that's it. Carefully. Like that until it's flat. All right, that is done. Pretty cool. I'm really happy with this. The decals were kind of a pain, but you know, once it's all done, it's not so bad. All right, guys, now that it's done, what do you think? As far as painting this, I used silver and red just to make it pop a little bit, give it a little bit of variation there, and then I clear coated it. Unfortunately, in this video, we can't demo this because this paint is still really soft. It's still fresh. If you smell your project and it really smells like enamel paint, you know it's not dry yet. So we're gonna wait a bit and we'll demo it in another video. But it'll be interesting to see how well this holds up. I don't have much faith that after a while it'll look really good because these balls are always getting banged up and chipped anyway, so we'll see how long this lasts. So if I were you, I wouldn't spend too much time fussing about this if it's you know, gonna get beat up anyway. So Let's see, what else? What went well? What would I change? I wouldn't bother making this replaceable, so like I said, I glued it in the middle. The foil tape doesn't really work because it wouldn't match the metallics there, so skip that. There are some little differences here. I didn't put in every detail it had, but it's, you know, 90% of the way there, at least 95. And I don't know, I'm pretty happy with it. I think it went pretty well. Without playing with it, I don't know how long of a spike you really need, you know, to be something that works well. So we'll see how this all plays out. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with this. Now let's talk about this and some ideas I have. Now the movie's not out yet. There's almost no information that I could find. The only thing I know about this as far as the story goes is Kylo Ren made it himself, okay? And so what's with this wire? You would never make one with a wire on the outside as part of an original design. These are called jumper wires. And when people use those, it can be an original part of an original design, but you wouldn't have it on the outside. You wouldn't build, like R2-D2 would never have wires on the outside of them. That'd be really kind of dumb. So like here's a circuit board, and you can see one of these traces is coming off. If somebody was going to repair this, you can't attach the wires where they should go because nothing is there anymore. So what you would do is you'd lead a wire from the component wherever it is, and you could attach the wire to maybe this part wherever it was supposed to go, and you would ignore that. So that's one use of jumper wires. The other one is to modify it to do something it wasn't originally supposed to do. And so maybe that's where these parts come in. So maybe he made that, and that's what I'm thinking. This opening here is either damage, so he fixed a damaged lightsaber, or he tore one open on purpose so he could run the wires. Something like, I'm guessing it was damaged and he fixed it. He modded it. He made a mod on it for himself. Anyway, that's my theory. Let's see when the movie comes out, if they even talk about that, or if I'm right at all. But we're going to come back to this project. I got some ideas on this one, make some more fun things like this. But if you're interested in making replica props, there's a website you should check out called therpf.com. And there are so many people there making some really cool props. So that's an awesome resource. You know what I noticed about these? If you were going to make one of these, a replica, and you wanted the real parts, you can get them. It's going to cost you a fortune, though. These parts, do you know what they are? And probably next time you watch Star Wars and every time after, you're never going to see this the same way. So if you don't want this kind of ruined for you, don't listen. Okay, these parts are part of semi-truck wheels. Not the tires, you know, the tires are the rubber part, but the wheel is what the tires are on. And there's a model kit, a Peter built a model kit called Midnight Express, and you can see that they used parts of that model kit. And also, this part here and this part here are the turrets of a German Panther tank from World War II. It's a model kit again. Right here is at the front of the tank where the machine gun would stick out. And these are tank treads. So they used, and you can still get those model kits if you wanted to. They used model parts and made all these props. That's kind of a neat thing to find out. So that's how they made these old props. I think we're done here. Let's go to the table. I'm going to read some viewer mail. We're going to pick a winner for the last giveaway. And I'll also tell you how to enter this new giveaway. So let's jump to the table and get that done. Alright guys, let's get into some viewer mail, and if you want to send me an email, send it to happyatomirl@gmail.com. You can also click the About tab and get an email address there, but when you send it, please write viewer mail in the subject line because then it's easier for me to find, it doesn't get lost. And sometimes I also read the comments on these videos that you leave in the message section if there's an interesting one. But if you want to make sure I get your message, and maybe you want to send pictures or something, you can do that through email. So this first one I want to read is from Michael Kloutman, and from the last video he sent a picture of some lightsabers he made on the lathe, and they turned out pretty cool. Here's what he says. Here's 2 lightsabers I'm busy making. I used a lathe to carve them, and it's a lot of fun. And he said it's all one piece of wood. I used small wood turning chisels and strips of sandpaper to get the small details done. It wasn't easy, as it was only the second time I used a lathe, And you're right, it is a lot of fun. I don't know anybody who doesn't like using that. It's kind of neat. Plus, what's really cool is it's not loud. Almost all power tools like that are really loud. But when you use one of those, you can listen to music, you can talk to people. So send us some pictures when it's done. We'd like to see it. This next one is from MaxMaster121. I think that's your screen name, but your email says Marvin. So he says, greetings from Germany. You are awesome. You are something like an idol to me. Well, thank you. Well, actually, I want to show you some of my creations. Because I'm too lazy to put the pictures in here, I'll send you the link to my Instagram. I hope you can give me some insider tips on the shield. And I hope my grammar was right. So let's take a look at those. And I can see from this first one, you're working a lot like I used to. You can see he's got it all drawn out on graph paper with pencils. Looking really good and precise. And let's take a look here. On this picture, you're using a coping saw, which is the perfect tool for that if you don't have power tools or a power scroll saw. But looking at this, I see you're laying your work out kind of spaced out. Plus, if you can, put these flat edges that you need to cut out against the flat edge of the wood. That way you're already starting with a cut done. So that's how I would do it. Other than that, it looks good. And this last picture, I can see, let's see, you're using plywood for the detailed work, which is going to be harder because it's going to want to splinter on you. So you got to work a little bit more careful. It can work, but if you have the option to use solid wood for all these internal parts, I would do that. I wouldn't use plywood. It'll still work. I'm sure it'll turn out fine. It's just easier for you. It looks good to me, and I think we should make one soon. Also, my son's been asking for one of these, so I think we should do that. But send us some pictures when you're done, and danke for sending those that you did. Let's see. Let's jump to Joel, and he says, rather than sanding down the button rivets on the front side, wouldn't drilling holes the way you did on the back have worked just as well? He's talking about the shield. Let me grab it. Okay, so he says on the back of the shield, remember we did these rivets here and we just drilled a hole and inserted it. And that's easy because it's flat. On the other side, the same rivet, it's resting on this peak. So it's going to want to push the rivet up, which would have looked too high. And I didn't like the way that looked. You can see this one's even more exaggerated. So what I did was just sand the button down on the back. If you did want to drill it, you would have to get a drill bit that matched this diameter here. And that's different than the plug part on the bottom. So that's why I did it. There's no wrong way to do anything. And you know, a lot of viewers just get some info and do it the way they want. So yeah, it would work. You could do that, but that's why I did it the way I did, because I didn't want the button higher up. Okay, and this one, let's see, did I miss anybody? This one, we got two more real quick. This one's from Paul Dar, and he sent some images from the shields he's been making for his son's birthday, and his son's pretty happy. Also, check out the scabbard he made. Thanks for sending those in, and also good job. Okay, last one is more photos from, I don't have the name printed here, but I'll remember, David Soren. And he finished up his sword and shield, and his paint job's awesome. We got to finish ours like that. Thanks for sending in the photos. I need to paint it silver and put on the green. But anyway, again, if you want to send a message, go ahead and email it to me, and we'll get to that. All right, let's end this last giveaway, and then we'll go through this final giveaway. Let me move the camera. Okay, we are ready to pick a winner for the last video's giveaway. If you entered, then your entry should be here. Double check to make sure that your entry's in the comments section. We have 177 entries. If you've entered previous giveaways and didn't win on those, then those are also added to your entry here. Same as last time, I hit paste. It pastes a script which generates a random number, and we find the winner. If you've already won and the name's crossed out that you won on, that winning entry doesn't count. So if it lands on a name that's has a strike through on it, it doesn't count. So I'm going to hit paste. We have 57. Hunter Log. Well, it's about time. You entered every time, Hunter. Congratulations. Let me know if you want Mario Pipe, and if so, what color. Also, if you want a sword instead, let me know and I'll send that to you. And now let's head on over to this giveaway, the last one. Let's do this giveaway. This will be a fun one. It's going to be the same as all the other giveaways. This one won't be international shipping though. I just don't have the budget for that, but I'll send it anywhere in the US. So you send me an address and I'll send it to you. And just like the others, you've got to be a subscriber. So easy enough, hit subscribe and you're halfway there. Then the second part is you have to enter a comment in the comment section, but there's always a caveat with that. Like the other entries, it has to have either a secret symbol or something about it. That way I can search all the comments and it's highlighted and I know that you entered the contest, right? So last time it was the asterisks, and I could just do find asterisks and I could see everybody who entered, and it's really easy for me to find the winner that way. So in your comment you have to use, on this one we're going to use the word force, so F-O-R-C-E. Just put that somewhere in a sentence, and it doesn't have to do with Star Wars, be anything you want, and you're in. And here's an idea to sweeten the deal. If you want to increase your chances of winning, if you send me a photo of you in some Star Wars costume, good or bad, I don't care. Send it to my email address, happyadamirl@gmail.com. I'll multiply your chance of winning by 5. Okay, so for those who want to do that, and I really don't care if your costume is miserable. You could be any Star Wars character you want. Pick a Star Wars character, and it's got to be you in it. So if you want to be a stormtrooper and put a piece of binder paper on your head for the helmet and sunglasses, and those are the stormtrooper eyes, that works. Okay, I'm not going to be picky, but just so that I know that you really did it and didn't just take your friend's Facebook photo and use it as an entry, you have to send me 2 photos, okay, or it won't count. First photo of you in your costume, good or bad, I don't care. And the second photo has to be you with, I'm going to say, holding up a pinky, okay, because you're not going to be able to find images of people holding up their pinky in Star Wars costumes, all right? That way I know it's you, okay, and it's a real entry. And then you have 5 chances of winning. Okay, nothing offensive, please, because I will be showing some of these on video. So don't send me anything you wouldn't want people to see, all right? So that'll be the contest. We'll pick a winner. I'll try to do it before December, guaranteed. Sometimes, you know, it takes me a while to do videos, but at least you'll get it before Christmas. How about that? Okay, there was a few things I wanted to finish talking about, and boy, I better blow through this fast, but it's important. I got to thank whoever sent a channel donation on August 14th, somewhere right around there. If it was the day before or after, I don't know, but that's the date I have from Google. They're anonymous. They're always anonymous, so I can't thank you guys personally because I don't know who did it, but somebody who last August, and also September 2nd gave a nice donation as well. And thank you guys so much for that, because it helps me get equipment, better equipment. I'm still saving up for a new camera. I'd really love one. Make it easier filming these videos. Also, I'm setting up a Patreon account. It's not totally set up yet, but you can look for that if you want to donate that way instead. Let's see. Also, some of you are leaving comments and asking questions, and you don't have a reply button at the end of your comment. I can't reply to you. If you've asked me a question, I haven't responded. It could be because there's no reply option. So double check your YouTube settings and allow people to send reply. If you don't see the little thing that says reply, nobody can comment back, okay? And I think that's it. Double check your entry to make sure your comment is down there. And if you want to foolproof it with a bullet, send me a picture in my email. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Woo, it's long. And the next one I've already got planned out, and I'm excited about it. It's going to be a fun one, kind of a Halloween theme. Okay, so not roughly. It'd be fun to I'm going to use it in front of the kids on a Halloween night. So hopefully it's not raining that night or snowy. That would ruin it. But anyway, thanks guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, enter into this giveaway if you want, and I'll see you guys later. You guys are awesome. Thanks. Bye. Okay, go for it.
The string's really long, so it's like.
So I need to make the string shorter?
That would probably make it easier. But Yeah, so. Trying to get spike from all these different positions. Oh, there we go.
Cool. So what do you think?
It's definitely a fun kendama. Spike is a little weird because it's like a head, sort of. But I think it's pretty cool.
Think you could get good at it if you tried for a while?
Yeah.
String
Probably.
just needs to be shorter. I think I made it a little bit long.
Yeah. Aiden would be good at this.
Yeah.
Probably. See if we can get spike from here. Oh.
Alright, good job, buddy. I just shortened the string to about 18 inches now. I wanted to give it a couple more inches to clear the spike. So let's see how you do now.
A lot easier. Well, I know you didn't get it, but a lot easier to get it up. I can probably get it now. String got a little tangled and this way's easier.